Welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. So today I have a mobile suit that actually hails from the manga Plamo Kyoshiro, which was essentially a precursor to Gundam Build Fighters. It was one of the very first non-UC, actually it was the very first non-UC storyline, and involved kids building model kits to fight them in Gunpla battle arenas. In the Perfect Gundam, this one here, the PF-78-1 Perfect Gundam, in version anime, was the main character's mobile suit. So it's a customized RX-78-2. And so you'll see on the box art here, he's actually fighting the Perfect Zeong from that same series. Now, Perfect Gundam was later adopted into MSV, which you'll see right there. But you'll see a lot of elements from the series, which is this insignia, the fact that the Gundam has eyes, stuff like that. So it's an interesting design. I think it's kind of a little bit odd, but it's a Kurioakawara design, and like I said, it got thrown into MSV later on, but initially it was a child's design for a Gunpla battle, so let's check it out. So the Perfect Gundam starts off as a normal RX-78-2, and that's what you get here as a figure. So Perfect Gundam, when it was designed, again, was just part of this little manga. However, it was retconned to be a part of the MSV. So basically it was the precursor to the FSWS system that the Full Armor Gundam used. It was never actually developed, but it was designed by the Earth Federation, and later became the Full Armor Gundam. So the basis here, of course, like I said, is just the Gundam. So you have basically a rehash of the regular Gundam here. So I'm going through some of the articulation. And the Gundam had some really great articulation. You did have some thigh swivel there. We looked at the knee joints. Feet can do some amazing stuff, like completely fall off. But you have quite a bit of side-to-side, good front and back. You have toe articulation there, and you have thruster part compatibility in the feet, as well as the backpack. You do have, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this out of here, but you do have a little hatch to store the bazooka. You have the beam saber storage and the shield. And then you have the old splits there. And what did I break off? Hey, look, this little piece comes off. So we're just breaking stuff left and right. But basically you have the Gundam. Now, one big difference here is the head. The head's a bit narrow, but I kind of like it. I think it looks better than the original release, which we'll compare it to here in a second. So let's check out the armor here. So the first thing we want to do is place the shoulder armor on here, if I can get it out. And that just fits right over the shoulders. And you do have a little hinged piece so that you don't lose your arm articulation. So grab the other one here. So there's a weird looking Gundam right there. And the next thing we're going to go ahead and put on is the backpack. If I can grab it. Come on. There we go. So the backpack here you see is connected to the double beam rifle by a cable. And it's an interesting design here. You have lots of gizmos and gadgets all over it. You do have 3 ball jointed thrusters, all compatible with effect parts. You have movable thrusters here. Lots of cabling. You have this little super fragile piece right there. You do have a hinged cannon, which in some forms is a shell firing cannon, and I think in Gundam Build Fighters they made it into a beam cannon, but it does have a cable here. And then you have the double beam rifle, and I'll show you how this all attaches. And it looks like a little shield, which is interesting yet goofy design. And so it basically just attaches straight to the back. Nothing crazy. We'll need to attach this, so you'll remove this little armband piece, attach it to the arm, and we'll see the backpack doesn't want to stay on there. And this just goes right over, so it kind of locks it into the arm. Now, to get the backpack to stay on there, we need to attach the front armor piece. Oh, this also has a little antenna that just comes right on out. Little antenna there. Mine is actually bent. I swear it wasn't like that a minute ago. I didn't bend it right now. Mine is actually bent, so it's a little bit of a quality control issue. I'm going to leave it down, but that was kind of disappointing to see. Speaking of quality control issues, let's take a look at this piece. So I wanted to make sure the camera would focus here. You'll see that there's this little tab piece inside of there, this gray piece. So it's supposed to have this little plastic piece attached to the top of it, where that little circular mark is. And you'll see it's kind of free-floating back in there. So you attach this to the chest, and then here's another issue. You see the backpack just falls off at a moment's notice. But you'll attach this to the chest, and it doesn't actually attach to anything. It just kind of rests. And that's because the blue chest piece, which is this one here, this is actually how it truly attaches to the mobile suit. So you have to attach this to that, and then you have the whole piece. Well, if you apply any pressure to this piece when you're attaching everything, you're going to snap this off. And that's a problem. So let's try and get the chest piece attached here. So we got to kind of hold the backpack in place, and this should slide right on in, just like that. Now, the next thing we got to do that I totally forgot about is putting on the waist armor. If I can get these out of here. So these little pieces attach to the front skirt armor, and they're kind of a pain because they don't actually like to stay. You'll, I don't know if you can see, but it actually gives resistance, and it's, I mean, it's not on there like at all. Like I just like popped it right off. So what you kind of have to do is get it attached as well as you can, and then these canisters will attach to the side skirt armor. But as you saw, they're already wanting to pop off constantly. So nothing is actually staying onto the mobile suit, which is a problem. And you have the front lower skirt armor piece, which attaching that just blew off the waist armor. So let's try this again with the other side. Let's see if I can get this side to go. Both sides were giving me issues. Yep, and it looks like this one's no different. Nope. So let's see here. There we go. So that one went on pretty well, but not this one. Let me see if I can do it back here. Okay, so it looks like I've got it. Just nobody move, or nobody breathe, because it will definitely fall off. So that's the issue with the armor pieces here. It's like, for mine at least, I think it might be like quality control issue, these pieces will not stay put. And then I have this piece, which I just tapped with my finger, just barely, and that one's already popped off as well. So it's just like nothing's staying on here. But let's keep going. Next up is the leg armor. So basically what you'll do is remove the knee, and you can break the armor pieces apart. And there's some good detail in here. Slightly ball jointed thrusters with thruster effect compatibility. And so let's see here, we'll just, oops, I just touched everything up there. So I'm sure it'll go flying off here in a second. But the two leg pieces just connect like that, and then you'll attach the knee piece, and that's it, it's on there. So pretty simple. And we'll go ahead and do it to the other side real quick. So we'll just go ahead and do this. Attach those. And that. There we go. And lastly here we have the feet, which are pretty simple. So the front foot piece slides in, and then the rear portion slides over as well. I guess it's easier to do this not in the fashion that I did it, because the leg armor tends to get in the way. There we go. But it is doable. So put the feet on first, is what I'm learning. There we go. And last one here. There we have it. So this is the Perfect Gundam, and it is not so perfect. A lot of quality control issues. I mean, there's just crap everywhere on this. It's a quality control issue. But I mean, it looks how it's supposed to look. I mean, that's pretty much it right there. So now that we have Perfect Gundam made, let's take a look at all the accessories you get. One quick thing I forgot to mention with the armor, on the crotch piece here, these little verniers actually will move out of the way when you're moving the legs. I thought that was an interesting design. You can kind of see the pegs back in there. But yeah, they actually move, which is pretty cool, so it doesn't limit the articulation so much. Alright, so first thing to go over is the hands. You get your standard set, beam saber hands, gun hands, two different kinds of posing hands, and the rack. You also get, underneath the clamshell, this little sticker sheet. You have one sticker for the front of the chest, and another sticker for the shield. And this is the Plamo Kyoshiro symbol, so it's pretty cool. Now, for the weapons, actually, let's wait on the weapons. Let's do the head. So, the Gundam's head can actually remove its face. And why, pray tell, would you be able to do that? Well, because you have two different face plates, one with little eyes there, and one, I think he's making like a winky face. And that is absolutely right. Oh, he's angry. Angry wink. So you kind of just slide this up and into the head, which is a little harder to do with all the armor on. But you kind of go like that, and you have angry winking Gundam. So this was included because it's a Plamo Kyoshiro mobile suit, and so they had the SD Gundam style eyes sometimes, and that's the purpose behind that. You do get a replacement antenna in case you drop it and break it. I wouldn't recommend doing that. So for weaponry, you get the Gundam's beam rifle, same exact piece that you get with the regular Gundam, effect part compatible. And you get the Hyper Bazooka, same thing. It's exact same design, effect part compatible, just like before. And then you get a bazooka storage piece. And it's the same one again, stores in the rear waist armor. And lastly, let's take a look at the shield. So the shield's a little bit different. You can kind of tell from the front. This piece is colored different right there. But when you go back here, it's completely different. So it attaches kind of the same way the beam rifle does, where it had that armband on it. You'll see there's 3 beam sabers. The Perfect Gundam has 3 beam sabers, even though it can only hold 2 at a time, which is kind of weird. And it has a collection of drop mines down here. And these are all removable, although I would not really recommend it because you will probably lose them. So, if I can reattach this little guy, maybe not. Let me do it back here. There we go. Took me a second. So the shield is on a ball joint, and it'll attach to the arm. Now here's another quality control issue. It's attached to the arm. Just kidding. No, it's not. So without this armband, the shield will not actually stay in place. So when you're not with all the Perfect Gundam armor and stuff, and you're just attaching the shield regularly to the arm, it literally will not stay in place. Like, you can't even have him in a neutral standing pose. It'll just fall right off unless you're very careful. I mean, there's ways to get it on there, but I mean, it just barely stays. So it's yet another to add to the list of quality control issues. But once you get it attached, especially like this, it does look really good. You also get 2 beam saber blades, which are in this little piece of plastic here. You get 2 of these standard saber blades, nothing special, and you get a long handled beam saber. So really you get 4 total here. There we go. So for effect parts, you get 2 rifle effects because he has a double beam rifle. So you get 2 of these. You get 1 slashing beam saber effect, and you get 4 of these thruster effects with the curved peg. So these are the standard Mobile Suit Gundam style thruster effects. So kind of a bland effect part list here, but decent. So I did want to go ahead and compare the original Gundam release in version anime with the new one here in Perfect Gundam's release. So a big difference here is going to be the heads. You'll see the new one has a much better sculpted head. It's a little bit on the narrow side, but I mean, you can see from the side profile this one looks way better. Other than that, the armor pieces are some of them are molded different to accommodate the armor. The feet are a little bit different, and that's pretty much it. I mean, other than that, they're basically the same figure. So I just wanted to show a comparison of the 2 real quick. So this Perfect Gundam release, for me, unfortunately, was not all that perfect. I did have a lot of quality control issues with my figure. Well, let's go through the list. We had the bent antenna on the backpack. The shoulder armor wasn't wanting to stay on very well at all. I don't know if that was quality control, if everybody's is like that. The shield wouldn't stay on very much at all. The chest piece had that tab that broke. The front skirt armor pieces would not stay on. This little side piece over here pops off constantly. I'm probably going to have to glue that one into place. There's just a lot of issues with it. The accessories that it came with were decent. You know, you can have it configured like this in a very nice RX-78-2 configuration, a nice little updated version, or you can have it as Perfect Gundam with all the armor on it. But with mine, there was just so many problems with it. It was more of a pain, and you had pieces constantly wanting to fall off and everything. It was not a very good experience, and it's unfortunate because the Perfect Gundam armor, like, it's not a very complicated design. I mean, the full armor Gundam's much more complicated and has more pieces to it, but this one, for whatever reason, was more problematic. It comes with the little eyes. I don't know if you can tell, but I have the little eye, one of the eye pieces in the face there, which is a nice little gimmick. I mean, not really something I particularly care about. I know it was put in there because of the manga origins, but it comes with most of the accessories it needs. The effect parts were kind of lacking, which is typical. It was at least a regular release. I think I paid $74 for it. Which, if you don't already have a Gundam figure, this is a regular RX-78-2, I guess it's worth it. And if you didn't have all the quality control issues mine had, if I didn't have a lot of those, this would be a pretty decent figure. But as it is, mine just has too many problems. Perfect Gundam was something we saw, I think it was in the Gundam Fix line a long, long time ago, the Kotoki version of it, and since then we haven't really had anything with it, so I was kind of excited for this release. It is a goofy design. It originated in that manga where a kid designed it, essentially, so you can kind of tell that it kind of has a goofy design. It doesn't really fit in with Universal Century, but I like oddball designs. I couldn't get into this figure, unfortunately. There was just too many problems with it. So hopefully, if y'all decide to pick it up, it's not going to be as problematic. It is a regular release again, so it's fairly easy to find. But let me know how your figure is, if you do own this figure, if you had any of the problems that I had with mine, and look forward to the review of Perfect Gundam 2, which has been delayed due to COVID-19, but hopefully I'll be getting it in very soon. So thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time.